All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to what is a historic event here at Eastern Connecticut State University as we unveil, in quite a sense, our first ever Land Acknowledgement Statement. My name is Lamar Coleman, and I am the Vice President for Equity and Diversity here at Eastern, and I have the distinct honor and privilege and pleasure of serving as the MC of today's outstanding event. One of the phenomenal things about my role here at Eastern is that I sort of get to, usher in the values and core mission of our institution. Part of that mission is making sure that Eastern Connecticut State University is a welcoming, is an inclusive, and is a place where everybody feels that they can belong. And so now that we are acknowledging the land on which the university sits, that really just goes to heart as to what the institution is all about. And like I said, it goes hand in hand with my role. We certainly want everybody who studies at Eastern, who works at Eastern, who visits Eastern, to feel as though they're respected, to feel as though they belong, and that we give the respect and recognition that is due. And certainly, for the ancestral land on which we sit, giving that respect and recognition is certainly part of our values. And so, without further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Karim Ismaili, the president of Eastern Connecticut State University, to come up and provide greetings as well as the university welcome. Dr. Ismaili.
Thank you very much, Dr. Coleman. Good afternoon. It is a privilege to welcome representatives of the tribal nations of Eastern Connecticut and members of the campus community to this ceremony. I want to thank our honored guests for being here and for sharing your reflections and experiences with us. Thank you, Senator Austin, for joining us. Your voices and your presence enrich this moment and deepen our understanding. Today is an important day for Eastern. Yesterday, the University Senate voted to formally adopt this Land Acknowledgement Statement for Eastern Connecticut State University. This marks a meaningful step in our ongoing responsibility to understand the history of the land on which we gather and to recognize Indigenous peoples as the original and continuing stewards of this place. A land acknowledgement helps us understand the deep and enduring relationships Indigenous nations maintain with their homelands. It brings attention to the histories that have too often been overlooked. And it invites us to reflect on the commitments we should uphold as a university community, grounded in learning, respect, and inclusion. A land acknowledgement also reminds us that the effects of colonization do not end in the past. It encourages truth-telling and awareness and challenges us to think carefully about how we can support Indigenous students and communities today. These ideas closely align with Eastern's mission as Connecticut's public liberal arts university. We are called to honestly examine the world, deepen our understanding of the communities around us, and foster a campus culture that reflects care and responsibility. Beginning with our next university meeting, Eastern will open its major campus gatherings with the statement. In the months ahead, we will continue working with faculty, staff, students, and tribal representatives to identify additional opportunities for meaningful engagement, learning, and collaboration. I want to thank the Office of Equity and Diversity for its valuable leadership. University Events and Engagement coordinated today's program with great care, and University Communications and Marketing supported the development of our materials and messaging. This ceremony calls us to listen with humility, to continue learning, and to build relationships that honor both the history and the living presence of Indigenous nations in this region. Thank you again for being here and for supporting this important work.
Thank you, President Ismaili. It is certainly very fitting that we unveil our Land Acknowledgement Statement on what is Native American Heritage Month. And so, obviously, from this point forward, as we recognize the land on which we sit, we'll be able to reflect fondly on, the Heritage Month of which, it sort of came to be. I have the distinct honor to introduce our next speaker, who will serve somewhat as our keynote speaker. This individual is no stranger to Eastern, especially since this person is an alumna of Eastern Connecticut State University. This person has been a champion for the university, contributes in lots and lots of meaningful ways, and visits campus fairly regularly. And so we are very, very pleased to sort of have her as our keynote speaker, but even more so, we're very pleased that this Land Acknowledgement Statement probably is near and dear to her heart, since her ancestral tribe is also named within the statement. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Beth Regan, who is the chairwoman and justice of the Mohegan Tribal Council of Elders, and as I mentioned, she's also an Eastern alum. Beth.
Kataptom tamayamu. Cha kwa kuipiomu kwa wikisk. Nitompak kwa shashayawonk. Natiawis yompawe nayach wachi mahiganawak kwa mohiks. Kataptom tamayamu manto kwa ni inowak kwa wikisk. Hello and welcome, and good day to our family and friends gathered here today. I am called Mourning Deer of the Mohegan people. Thank you to all of the people, our creator, and for this day. That's what I was able to say in my language, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do that today. I'm thankful and incredibly grateful to be here. Today we are gathered in harmony on this occasion to celebrate, honor, and learn. And aren't those some of the primary functions of a higher place of learning? First, I want to say Kadaptum Tamahamu, or thank you to a few people. First and foremost are my ancestors. The resilience, teaching, and sacrifices of our ancestors guide us every step we take today. When I speak in places like this, I speak for and with them. Our ancestors carry our stories, our knowledge and responsibilities across generations, so we may continue to flourish as a sovereign nation. Honoring them is not an act of looking back. It is a reminder of the continuity of who we are. Some of us here today share some of these ancestors, as I note Uncas, our First Sation, who was actually Pequot, and settler colonialism destroyed his relationship, and he made a decision, and he broke from his Pequot tribe. He also has Nahantic, Montauk, Narragansett lineage. So we are all here today, Acum and Fidelia also, so we do share some ancestors. I will share more with you about Samson Acum later on. Thank you to the other tribes present here today. We are relatives, Inawak. The strength of our native communities, the Mashantucket Pequot, Eastern Pequot, Schaghticoke, Golden Hill Paugussett, and others, come from our shared histories, but we have distinct cultural identities. Today's ceremony reflects that collective strength. Today is a celebration not just of one nation, but of all of our continued presence, sovereignty, and contributions of all Native people in this region. For those from other nations who are with us today, and they are seated here in front, thank you for being here, and for the ways you continue to carry your culture, your language, and teachings. Thank you to the Mashantucket Pequot, to the Eastern Pequot, to our Golden Hill Paugussett relatives here today in front that you will hear from later. But I asked the others in the audience today, how many of you know about these 5 Connecticut tribes? Great, good. I see a couple hands, just a couple. Okay, these are simply the recognized tribes. We have other what I might call absent tribes in Connecticut that you may only recognize, but what might be a footnote in history or a place name in the state that we now call Connecticut, derived from our Algonquian word, Quinantucket, place of the long tidal river. Examples would be the Hammonasset or Tunxis. To ECSU, special thanks to President Ismaili. I love the impact you are already having on this university. Thank you. And to Cliff and the Office of Equity and Diversity, thank you for having me here today. But today is about perspective. Native American Heritage Month is a time of reflection and a time of visibility. It reminds us of the indigenous stories that are and have become what we might call American stories. However, our histories are deeper than a single month. We live this daily, but November offers an invitation for learning, an opportunity to elevate voices that have too often been overlooked or misrepresented. For Mohegan people and the other people present here today, it is lived through our language, our lands, our families, our governance, our communities, and our commitments to honor one another. This month calls us to listen, to honor, and to understand the full truth of the first peoples of this land. Additionally, as we enter into the 250th anniversary of what we now call the United States, we Mohegans and other Native people are 250 times infinity. The American Revolution has produced very, very different results for our nation. This is an era when many Mohegan men lost their lives, fighting for the cause of liberty, only to have that liberty extinguished. As a matter of fact, the first Native American to lose their life in the American Revolution was my ancestor, Samuel Ashbow. Our women, once leaders in the tribe pre-revolution, were especially stripped of their power and leadership in this new America. We have fought hard to restore our women leaders. For example, Chief Matawi Matahash, Chief Many Hearts, who is our first modern Mohegan chief since pre-revolution America. But today is a new beginning, a newfound relationship with this university and with these tribes. Our East direction teaches us of those new beginnings every day that we have, because the sun rises in the east. My relationship with Eastern is far from new. When I was a teenager, from a poor, broken family, my grandparents taught me the value of an education. So have my ancestors. Remember, Samsonakam is coming up. Title IX and basketball skills brought me here, where I could learn, grow, get 2 degrees, and have an immensely rewarding teaching career, where I was able to start with the help of my tribe and the tribes here, especially Mashantucket, did a lot of work with those relatives to create a course, okay? The first ever course in Connecticut history, totally devoted to the teaching of Native Americans, our histories and cultures. Now, that was decades ago. Today, with the 5 tribes here, and those present here, the very men and women present here, have created a Native American curriculum. We have achieved this to be mandated in the state of Connecticut, and we are very proud of that. We have used our resources and our materials with our voices, not the voice of the settler colonists. This is real progress. Today, I still love and give to Eastern in so many ways. As a thank you, I donate, but most important to me is my time and who I am, that I volunteered to this place. I volunteered for the women's basketball program, who are present here today. That very program that literally saved my life. I thank Denise Beerley, who brought me on as a volunteer, and Coach Mandy King, who kept me on as a volunteer. Shout out to our team, and a special shout out to Anaya, who is my cousin in Eastern Pequot as well. So thank you. It is a circle, a never-ending connection. But now finally on to Samsonakam. I'm curious as to how many Eastern folks here know the background of the Mohegan man for which Samsonakam Hall is named, and where some of you might live right now. A spattering, perhaps a half a dozen, okay? That's okay. Today is about that, right? Today is about that. Our former medicine woman and tribal counselor and our current Council of Elders vice chairwoman spoke at the commemoration of what was then a new Occam Hall over 30 years ago, when her sister became one of the first residents in that brand new dorm named after her ancestor. Many Mohegans have been here at Eastern. Our nonner, Jane Fawcett, the mother of said Tantaquidgeon, my twin sister and me, Thane Hutchins, et cetera, all of us have come to positions in education or tribal leadership or even both. I am moved that Eastern has honored Samsonakam with his name on this hall. He was one of the most influential scholars and leaders of the 18th century, pre-American Revolution. Occam would be very happy to know his legacy lives on here. Even if you don't know that, you know it now, right? Where he worked and traveled to this area right here, almost 300 years ago. He would be very happy that women are being educated here, as that was the way of our people. We understand the importance of educated women leaders. He supported the education of women right up the road in Columbia, Connecticut, at Moore's Indian Charity School, or Wheelock School. Occam also had brilliant women friends in the day, like poet Phyllis Wheatley, an African woman enslaved in Boston, who corresponded with Occam and President TJ, I always write it as TJ, Thomas Jefferson, okay, on the evils of slavery, and also corresponded with Sampson's wife, Mary, herself a bold, educated Mohegan Montauk woman. As Tantaquidgeon noted on that day 30 years ago, Phyllis Wheatley was such a good friend of Occam's that she sent $1 of her meager earnings to that Indian school just up the road, and to Mary Wheelock to support her family because Occam was fundraising in England for 2 years. Let me get to that. That's just a little background on him. He was born at a time of immense strife here in this area, pre-United States, where colonial wars had torn our tribes apart, dwindled them. Alcoholism, destitution was rampant among our people, okay? That's where he was. You can see his quote down below. We do honor his place, we do honor it. We as Mohegans have always honored Occam for his writing talents, his herbal medicines, his commitment to education, his elegant ability to walk from the wigwam of his birth to the global stage in support of his dream of an Indian school. He saw firsthand how settler colonists would take advantage of the Indians should they not learn, should they not get an education, especially when it came to the sale of their land. Occam, okay, we love him, and we know his ever-enduring spirit touches all of us, and now it touches you. He actually wanted to raise money for an Indian school here. And he was one of the first reverends. And so what he did in 1766, he traveled to England to raise those funds for an Indian school. Received what would now be millions and millions of dollars. It might have been 12,000 pounds at the time. Got these contributors to believe in his cause. He was such a great speaker. People would travel from all over to listen to him, to help the cause of the Indian, to give them education. And so he did that. But what he found was that he would be betrayed. The money that he raised, that Wheelock took, that was supposed to be used for an Indian school here in Connecticut, was taken north to what was then western what would we call today New England, to Hanover, New Hampshire, and named it after one of the most significant donors of the day, Dartmouth. And so what is now known as Dartmouth College really had the founder of Samson Occam. There is so much more to that story. We have repatriated his papers from Dartmouth. We have a reconciliation going on with Dartmouth, and it's been very, very powerful because we believe that one's spirit is infused in what they do. So bringing home his papers is bringing him home, the things that he wrote. I had the honor of going there and reading the letters and talking, saying to Wheelock, why did you betray me? And he actually didn't say it that way. He was much more elegant. But this is the man whom you've named this hall after. So it is a deep, deep honor. And I got to tell you, as a matter of fact, this very morning, Mohegan tribal leadership have discussed commemorating a new plaque for Samson Occam Hall, emphasizing the groundbreaking work that this great Mohegan, who was educated right here in this area in Columbia, Connecticut. He founded his own school also in Montauk Reservation in Long Island, and he became, as I noted, the founder of Dartmouth College. Dozens of Mohegan educators, including yours truly, which I'm very proud of, have since attended Eastern Connecticut State University, and they have created great legacies for educators and education. Mohegan tribal leadership decided that today. So that's what these kinds of things can inspire. As we noted when we began today is about perspective. Let's see where I am on my, okay, there we go. I do have a couple things with Samson's legacy. But as we noted from the beginning, today is about perspective. So before I speak of the Land Acknowledgement Statement, I need to really speak of the land, right? You can see our chief's quote right there. The land is a gift from our Creator. We are connected to this land. We are the land. The quote about our waterways also illustrates this. We are part of it. We cannot be separated from it. This is why dispossession and removal was so traumatic for our people. I live on Uncas's son Joshua's land. I live there today. I hope that will be the place that I die. During today's ceremony, Eastern will formally present its official Land Acknowledgement Statement, recognizing the tribal ancestral lands on which the university stands. As we know, words matter. They can inspire us and uplift us. Let the words of this Land Acknowledgement Statement do just that. In that spirit, I offer my deepest gratitude for this acknowledgement of the native homelands beneath our feet. A Land Acknowledgement Statement is more than words. It's more than a statement. It is, as Dr. Ismail noted, an invitation to a deeper understanding and meaningful action. As we move beyond this statement, let's create deeper relationships with the tribal nations and tribal people present here. We are a wealth of knowledge. The Land Acknowledgement Statement is important. This first step is the new beginning. But acknowledgement without restitution, restoration, or amends would only become shallow and hollow. Thank you to Eastern for not doing this, but for moving in this right direction by being genuine and having us here today. We move in this circle together. So Eastern, let's together amplify Native voices. By the way, Eastern has created Native educators, and I'm going to do a little shout out to my friend Natasha from Eastern Pequot, who is a Native teacher, and gift her this, Indigenous Teachers Plant Seeds. And I really thank you. So thank you. I again thank Eastern Connecticut for recognizing this truth, our history, and for committing to build inclusive, respectful spaces through events like this one, supported by our president and so many more across this university. We travel the life and the path of life, our trail of life, with all people. We are on this journey together. Let us continue to strive for, as we have here today, to become better humans. Let's educate and elevate one another. The words of our Tantaquidians ring true here. It is hard to hate someone you know a lot about. So, kataptom tamayo, munduigo, niyayo, iach, thank you all. The Creator is good. It is so. Let it be this way. Aho. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Regan. Oh, that's okay. Thank you so much. Wow. If we didn't learn anything, we certainly now know who Samson Occam Hall is named for. So for those of you who live in that particular residence hall, you can now sort of rest on the laurels of knowing who he was, what he was about, and his contributions to education. So thank you so much again, Miss Regan. To stand here and look at a full room, of people who have come to this celebration and this ceremony, it really just does my heart proud. We are very pleased that the land on which we sit is the ancestral land of over 5 tribal nations, and all of those nations were invited to participate in today's event. Several of them sent their regrets, but we do have several who were able to join us. And so to share a few words with us from the Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation, another Eastern alum, let's have Natasha Gambrell. So, Miss Gambrell.
Tough act to follow, but I'm Natasha Gambrell. I graduated Eastern in 2015. I was also in Step Cap, so shout out to Step Cap if anybody did Step Cap. I'm here today with my mother. She graduated in 1977. Don't want to age you too much there, Mom. She is an elder. Sorry for the age there, Mom. But I'm very grateful to be here today. I know when I went to school here, there really wasn't a lot of visibility. So to be able to see this day and see it forward is a very great thing. Again, especially for tribes like myself, Golden Hill, and Schaghticoke, this is big for us. At a lot of times, the state of Connecticut tries to leave us voiceless. As state-recognized tribes, we get forgotten. And it's just great to have this visibility here today. And I am thankful that Eastern is moving in the right steps. As Beth had mentioned earlier, too, it is more than a land acknowledgement. And I am grateful to see that there are great things coming down the road. So, katapatash, tabatne, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gambrell. Also joining us today, another one of our tribal nations, again, land on which we sit. We've got Cassandra Sherman Keola, who is a board member of the Hill Paugussett Tribe. Is Ms. Keola here? There you are. All right. Please come forward, say a few words.
Sego, everyone. As you heard, my name is Cassandra Sherman Keola, also known as Small Bear Warrior. So this is a challenge for me to stay still in one little spot. I'm usually all over the place, and I had espresso today, so that doesn't help. But I wanted to just tell you a little bit something. As you heard in the slides presented by Beth, that the earth is a gift, right? And with our tribes, we have a relationship to the earth. Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandmother Moon, the foodways, the waterways. So every morning I get up and I give my thanks. I offer tobacco. I go outside. It can be raining, it can be snowing, it can be sunny. In the evening, I give my thanks. I remember that the air I breathe, my ancestors breathed. The ground I walk on, my ancestors walked on. I ask them to see through my eyes, hear through my ears, and speak through my voice. And I challenge you guys to get to know the land that you're on. Find out if there's indigenous people that are in your dorms, in your neighborhoods, in your doctor's office, supermarket, anywhere where you see somebody on a regular basis. Challenge yourself to find out if any of those individuals are indigenous. And then listen to them. And when I say listen, open your ears and close your mouth. We have a lot that we want to say back and forth to people, but we can't really truly listen unless we are quieting ourselves to hear what they're saying, absorb what they're saying, and acknowledge what they're saying. So I challenge you to find some individuals in your area, in your neighborhoods, in your space, get to know them, learn a little bit more about Indigenous peoples, learn about the land that you're on and why it's so sacred to us. And then maybe you'll go outside and you'll walk around the campus or your neighborhood and you won't step over that trash. You'll pick it up and throw it away. And I want to thank Eastern for acknowledging the land. And this is step one. And we look forward to see what the next step is, and the next step is, and the next step is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Also joining us today, we have the honor of the Department Director of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation Cultural Resources Department, Michael Thomas, to share a few words.
Greetings to my relatives and to our friends from the Mashantucket Pequot people. And I am happy that the relatives that preceded me referred to the shoulders that we all stand upon. I am a Mashantucket Pequot and Eastern Pequot and Narragansett man. And the Eastern Pequot part of that doesn't stand for anything less than the other two, is where I like to begin when it comes to state or federally recognized or even unrecognized relatives. And so I'm going to start to give you a bit of insight into how we live by telling you about what we do, because talk in America especially is cheap. We and the Mohegan relatives, and by we I mean both Pequot communities and our Mohegan relatives, just 4 or 5 months ago, had a chance to help our Wangunk relatives, folks that most of the people in the room don't even know still exist, are not state recognized, certainly not close to federally recognized. And the message to each of you is, we don't care, and neither should you. To assume that the only real Indians are the ones who are acknowledged by the colonizer is just foolish. And so our relatives are our relatives. All of our histories are intertwined, and they're every bit as intertwined with those Wangunk relatives for all of the tribal people you see in the room as the Mohegan and Pequot pieces Beth so eloquently told you about. And so we're happy to be here to continue a long Mashantucket Pequot relationship with ECSU. And it makes me think about the shoulders that that relationship stands upon. And so I have to speak of Dr. David Carter and Silver Wolf among our people, Pedro Johnson. And both of these, the one we've lost and the one still here with us, are absolute legends among our people. And I'm going to say that today we hoped we could come here and honor both of those gentlemen who were responsible for really creating the first deep relationship between ECSU and Pequot people. But being Native American Heritage Month, we're dragged in a million directions, and it's nice to see people interested. It's unfortunate that everyone's interested at once. There are only so many of us left. And so we are going to request that ECSU allow us and all of our tribal relatives to come back to honor these two men whose shoulders we stand upon, and perhaps we can have the one who's still here with us present, and to honor that with song and dance the way we do. And so we promise you that we'll have a full drum group of traditional singers and lots of dancers from every one of these communities in Connecticut, and celebrate those legacies the way we do and the way we should. And I'll just share a little bit about Pedro Johnson and how he brought our community into a deep relationship with this institution. Pedro Johnson was the eldest of our elected tribal council leaders when I was the youngest of our elected tribal council leaders. And so it means that I had a lot more to learn than I would have acknowledged as a 25-year-old, and he had a lot more to teach than I had the patience to soak up. And so to tell the short version of the story that we'll happily tell on that day when we sing and dance for them, Pedro made sure that Dr. Carter became a mentor of mine as well. And I don't know if that's because he knew how desperately I needed it as a 25-year-old leader or because he thought I deserved it. But either way, both of these men were tremendous gifts in my life at that time. And both of them have made substantial contributions to our Pequot tribal communities. And again, when we return to tell the full story about the connection between Silver Wolf, Pedro Johnson, and Dr. David Carter, we will do so in a community way with full community engagement. Today, we're happy to see that you continue what these gentlemen certainly helped to happen during their time, and that is you are taking action rather than just sharing words. When people call our museum, and I direct cultural resources for the tribe, I'm also the leader of the Mashantucket Pequot Museum and Research Center Board of Directors and sit on the Elders Council. And so lots of people that call in or are requesting information find their way in my direction. But we love to show the real closeness of the tribes in Connecticut, is my message, to help you better understand all of these relatives sitting in front of me and many, many more. Whenever anybody asks me to tell me about the family tree of Pequot people, I tell them we do not have a family tree. No tribe in Connecticut does. What we have are maybe rhododendron bushes, way too many branches, crossing way too many times to call it a tree. But we still embrace those who support us, and we still embrace our connections to one another deeply, always. And so you have given us a reason to come give ECSU a pat on the back that this institution deserves, and start another level of our relationship with another ECSU leader. And we're really happy to do that. But we always have to pay honor to the people that put us in the room today. Katapatiumu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And without a doubt, we will definitely take you up on that offer to have you back with all of the culture and dancing and singing and all of that. And hopefully the room will be just as full, if not fuller, during that occasion. On our program, we've got the department director, language department director of the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, Rashad Young. He's not able to make it. Okay, we'll have him back as well. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is the moment of truth. It is the time to unveil, to make history, to sort of put Eastern Connecticut State University on the map as it pertains to having our own Land Acknowledgement Statement, as we recognize and pay respect to those who shepherded the land on which we sit. And so I would love to introduce a student, because what would an event at a university be without student participation? Sebastian Spencer with the class of 2026, who has tribal affiliations with the Cherokee, the Blackfoot, and the Penobscot tribes, will sort of come, share a few words, and present us with our Land Acknowledgement Statement.
Hello, everyone. I'd first like to say I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be reading this land acknowledgement reading. I remember growing up, my father, my mother, and my grandfather would tell me proudly of our heritage and all the different places and areas our family come from across America, and our family tree has been growing and expanding for generations. I know they'd be proud in me reading this acknowledgement and pushing to learn more about where we come from and to better represent our past. We respectfully acknowledge that the land on which Eastern Connecticut State University stands and the broader area now known as the state of Connecticut is the ancestral territory of the Eastern Pequot Tribal Nation, Hill Paugussett Tribe, Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, Mohegan Tribe, Nipmuc Tribe, and the Schaghticoke Tribe, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations with great care. We honor their resilience, cultural heritage, and enduring presence. As Connecticut's public liberal arts university, we're committed to fostering greater awareness of Indigenous histories and contemporary experiences, and to build relationships grounded in respect, reciprocity, and responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Am I correct that the Utah singers, they'll be coming back? Okay. So we will definitely look forward to the Utah singers coming back to give their honor and their tribute to Dr. Carter, as well as Pedro Johnson, and so we'll certainly make sure that the public is well aware of that. Before we get to our celebration, a couple of things that I want to make sure that everyone is aware. Now that we have unveiled our Land Acknowledgement Statement, the Land Acknowledgement Statement will be placed on the Eastern Connecticut State University website. I think throughout today, it may have been on the homepage, just so that we can recognize the celebratory spirit of today. In addition, while it is on our university webpage, there'll be a downloadable link so that anyone that wants to download the actual, very nicely printed version of the Land Acknowledgement Statement, they will be able to do so. As President Ismaili said at the onset of the program, the Land Acknowledgement Statement will be read at major university events, particularly university meetings and any other, major university events that take place on the campus, so that we can continue to recognize and give respect, for the land on which we sit, and so that we can continue to provide awareness, so that those who may not know, of the indigenous people who, shepherded this land, throughout history. And so certainly look forward to that. We have a couple of thank yous to give. Obviously, the crafting of the statement was a huge undertaking. We did try to do our due diligence when it came to research, and we tried to make sure that it was shared with the appropriate entities to make sure that we've got it right. And so we certainly shared it with all of the tribes that are listed on the statement, and so we do want to thank them for all of their input and feedback. In particular, we do want to give a hearty thank you to Beth Regan from the Mohegan Tribe, who certainly provided substantial feedback. We also want to give a hearty thank you to the State of Connecticut Tribal Liaison, Danielle Russell. Is Danielle here? Okay, she may not have been able to make it. But she works for the state of Connecticut as the tribal liaison, and so she also provided substantial feedback. In addition, one of our own professors who is a scholar in Connecticut studies, Professor Thomas Belsurski, also provided substantial input. So a hearty thank you to all of those individuals and all of the tribes. As it pertains to putting today's event together, I do want to publicly thank Clifford Merritt from my office, who serves as Eastern's Director of Diversity and Inclusion Affairs. I'd also like to thank Candace DeAngelis, who serves as the University Director of University Events. Candace, thank you. And I also want to thank Ryan Quigley, who is the Director of the University Marketing and Communications and the President's Chief of Staff. Thank you, Ryan, for your assistance. And last but not least, you're in for quite a treat. While we participate in our celebration, there are some delectable delights in the back, and our catering service, Chartwells, provided various cuisines that, hopefully they've got it right, that are customary to indigenous cultures. And so certainly do try to, try some of the food that is in the back. So a hearty thank you to Chartwells. Last but not least, during your celebration and as you're mingling and networking and socializing, along my left over here, you'll sort of see several poster boards. And the poster boards are representative of the various tribes that are mentioned in the Land Acknowledgement Statement. You'll see the logos of each specific tribe, as well as a brief statement or summary of history, regarding the tribe. There's also a QR code for each of the tribes that will take you to additional information and history and education, regarding each of those tribes. So as you're socializing and mingling, certainly do, wander over there and learn a little bit more about some of the tribes that, again, whose land that we sit. I want to thank you all so much for coming out. I absolutely love the fact that there's standing room only, and so next time we do, and as was mentioned, this will not be the last time that we pay homage and recognize the indigenous tribes that who have shepherded the land on which we sit. So as we do various cultural events, we may have to provide a larger venue, a larger space, which is a good thing. But it's beautiful to see how many people came out. This will certainly not be the last that you hear of Eastern's connection, to the tribal nations, again, the land on which we sit, and certainly enjoy the food, enjoy the education, and enjoy each other. Thank you all so much for coming out.